Yeah, we have ducks, geese, whatever those were. Anyway, hello guys. Welcome back to another video. This video comes as another suggestion. I love when people suggest video ideas that I can actually do. And this one is right up my alley. Right in my wheelhouse, I think. And it's all about critters in Cambodia. Bugs, insects, frogs, snakes, all that. Which ones are venomous, which ones are not, and what you should do about them. In case you don't know, Cambodia is of course a very humid, hot country all year round. And you're gonna get bugs. And knowing which ones could potentially, you know, bite and harm you, and which ones will not, can be kind of important, I think. So we're going to be talking about all that in just a minute. But first I want to say, if you want to help support the channel, and I hope you do, there are links down below to PayPal, Ko-Fi.com, where you can join my Patreon. But when you donate to me, I give back to you. That's right. If it's your first time donating, I will send you copies of my books. One is called Live in Cambodia, a guide for living in the Kingdom of Wonder. And I'll throw in a copy of my book of short horror stories called The Things That Happen at Night. Just as a way to say thank you. I love my supporters. You guys are awesome. You've always helped me out. And that's why I also make weekly exclusive content just for people who support the channel. And that could be any number of things. It could be a video, could be a free book, a free story, information that will be important to you at some time that comes out as soon as it's announced, and all that good stuff. So I hope you consider it. Check out the links in the description. Now let's get on with the video. Alright. So as many of you may or may not know, depending on how closely you follow the channel, I love bugs and insects. I really do. I've taken a couple online courses for entomology, you know, the basic stuff, just for my own knowledge. I'm not an expert. I can't look at a insect flying by and automatically identify its family and species and genus and all that. But I learn about as much about them as I can, especially when I find something new that I've never seen before. I get excited. I take pictures. I have my own group on Facebook called Bug Life. I think it's got like 112 members now, so that's pretty cool. Just to let you know, you can go there and post any of the bug or insect pictures you see from wherever you live in the world, and see what's out there. But somebody wanted to know about the bugs and insects here, and I thought, okay, that might make a good topic. And the first thing I'll tell you is this. Most insects and bugs are not venomous, or at least venomous enough to do any real damage to humans. That being said, there are some, of course, the small percentage what they are out there that can really mess up your day or mess up your week, maybe even mess up your life if you are unlucky enough to encounter them. So I always tell people when it comes to those kind of things to treat bugs and insects the same way you would any other wild animal. If you can't recognize it, if you don't know the damage it can do, don't get too close. Don't go running up on it. Don't try to grab it. Don't try to get too much of a closer look there, because it could cause you some pain. But I want to talk about the most common types of bugs and insects here in Cambodia that I've seen. This is from my experience, and if you have any others, of course, leave them in the comments. Let everybody know what they are. I'd love to hear about them. And if you have pictures, post them over there on my Bug Life Facebook page. I'll be happy to take a look. But these are the ones you're going to encounter the most, at least the ones that I have here in Siem Reap. And the first one is the one that gives people a lot of stress and a lot of grumblings about it, and that is, of course, ants. Ants are everywhere in almost every tropical location in the world, year round. You cannot get rid of ants. And I see a lot of times people posting things about how to get rid of ants. I got ants in my house. They're on my walls. They're crawling outside my windows. Hello. How can I get rid of them? And I always give the same answer: you probably can't. Not completely, not to the point of eradication, like for some reason they're not just going to come into your apartment or your house. You know, when it comes to insects in general, there's like 1.5 billion insects for every single person on the face of the earth. So you're not going to get rid of them all. Let's just put it that way. But there are things you can do to get rid of them for a few days, or to make them less likely to get into your place in an extreme amount, I guess you can say. I know a lot of people talk about these home sprays, I guess, you know, vinegar and water, lemon juice and water, lemon juice and vinegar, and you know, all kinds of things. And that might make a barrier for a while. Like I said, it might discourage a lot of them from coming in, but after a while all that's going to evaporate. And it's only really a temporary measure. It's like putting a band-aid on an artery wound when it comes to ants here. The best thing you can do is really just keep your place as clean as possible. And I don't mean that to say if you have ants, you're a filthy, dirty animal that lives like a slob or anything like that. But if you drop food on the floor, you know, normally, like back home, I would do that. Drop a pizza roll on the floor. I'd just let it sit there until I felt like picking it up, because I am a filthy animal. But over here, anything, even a couple grains of rice, once the ants get the whiff, get the sniff, they're going to come in. And remember that those trails you see, if you've ever seen ants all along in the trail, that's because they leave a pheromone scent to any location where there might be food for the rest of the tribe there. And yeah, and the colony will follow that pheromone trail, trying to extract every bit of food that it can to try to take back. So even if you see a line of ants and you kill them all and you sweep them all out of your apartment, that pheromones smell is still going to be there, and your food's still going to be there, and they will likely find it again. So best thing you can do is just be extra vigilant. Don't leave any food out in the open. Banana peels, any kind of garbage you have, like from a sauce packet or something, especially anything that's sweet or has some kind of sugar in it. Just keep those things covered. Throw them away as much as possible. As a matter of fact, you notice here that a lot of times people don't use the big garbage cans and the big regular garbage bags like we would back home. They take out their garbage in little tiny bags, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day. And that's part of the reason for that. Just because you leave it in there for a couple hours, and you're just going to get ants. Ants are never going away here. A queen ant can have millions and millions of little babies, so even if you kill the queen, you know, one of those poisons where one of the workers takes it back to the nest, well, the rest of the colony is still going to go on living their lives until they all die. And there's still going to be millions of them. And there are some species of ants, by the way, that have more than one queen. So you might get one, but you might not get them all. So I think the best thing with ants is just to have a common acceptance and realize that they're going to be here for a long time. Do your best, but you're going to see ants. And next on the list, we have probably the biggest threat in the animal world to humans, and that would be mosquitoes. A lot of mosquitoes around here. They can carry malaria, dengue fever. Those are the two big ones in Southeast Asia. Most of the malaria is the malaria-carrying mosquitoes are on the borders, where all the heavy, thick jungles are. Not so much in the cities like Siem Reap, Phnom Penh, Battambang, things like that. But dengue fever is prevalent everywhere. First of all, let me say the mosquitoes is not what is giving you the dengue fever. There's a parasite living in the mosquito that you can't see with the naked eye. And once that invades the mosquito, that mosquito goes to draw blood out of you. The parasite gets in through the proboscis of the mosquito, and all of a sudden it enters your bloodstream. And getting bit by one of these doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get dengue fever. A lot of the times these parasites die before they get a chance to do any damage. But dengue fever is a very real and can be possibly fatal if it's not taken care of. But the good news is that there are only certain species of mosquito that carry the parasite for dengue fever. And we know through studies and entomologists that these mosquitoes come out mainly right after dusk or right before dawn. So those couple hours there before dark or right before the light breaks through is when they're the most prevalent. They're sitting there mating and feeding. That's their time to get out there and get busy with all that. So not every mosquito will be a carrier for these diseases, is what I'm trying to say. And it will only be the female that is affected, because of course male mosquitoes don't suck your blood or anything. And the best way to avoid that is really just like you would back home, good old-fashioned spray. You know, get some DEET, get some kind of protective spray, put on your exposed skin if you're going to be out, especially at those hours. That's when those species of mosquito are the most prevalent and will cause the most damage. But again, you can also you will find things here like those little coils, those little black coils that you burn if you're going to be outside to help keep the mosquitoes away. You have different sprays and different things you can put like on your windowsill or by your door that'll help to repel mosquitoes. It's not 100% guarantee though. If you're especially concerned, buy a good mosquito net to put over your bed at night, so you know you'll be protected while you sleep. You can find those here in town. But again, there's really nothing to be frightened of if you take precautions when you're going to be going out at certain times of the day. Mosquitoes are going to be here just like ants. Also try to keep away from having any stagnant sitting water, because that's a breeding ground for all kinds of mosquitoes. And if you're checking out apartments, you know, and you live near a place where there's going to be a lot of standing puddles after a good rain that are going to become stagnant, then keep that in mind. You might need some protection against extra mosquitoes, because during mating, when they're mating, well, you'll know it when you see it. It's a pretty incredible sight, actually, but you'll know it when you see it. So just take the proper precaution. You should be okay. All right, spiders. Let's talk about spiders. A lot of spiders here. All different kinds, all different species. Some are venomous to humans, of course. But again, just so nobody panics, the majority of spiders, even if they're venomous, are only venomous at the bite location. You might experience some swelling of your arm, you might experience a rash, you might experience some discomfort. But we're not talking life or death situation, unless, and here's the unless, and this is the thing about all kinds of venom, I think. If you don't think you're allergic to anything, and then come to find out you're allergic to a particular type of venom from a particular bug, insect, snake, whatever it is, the only way you're going to find out is after you get bit, and then it won't be good. So of course there's no guarantees that your body's not going to react in a certain way, but for the most part and for most people, spider bites here are going to be very minor inconveniences. Put some kind of disinfectant cream on the bite area, put some pseudo-creme on there, something to help get rid of the itching. Of course, don't scratch it, makes it worse. But for the most part, the spiders you see around here are going to be of two varieties that I've seen. Like I said, this is my experience. I have had spiders in every apartment I've lived in. I've not tried to get rid of them. They hang out in the corner, they have their webs. They're catching flies, they're catching mosquitoes, good on them. They leave me alone, I leave them alone, which is basically what they want. But not all spiders make webs. There are a lot of variety of jumping spiders here. First time I saw a jumping spider, I was like, okay, what is this, God's joke? What is going on here? I'd never seen one before, didn't even know they existed. I knew it was a spider. I went to get a closer look, and the thing jumped away from me, and it freaked me out. But then, through some, looking some stuff up, I realized jumping spiders are harmless. They're not venomous to humans, and not most of the varieties are not. And they catch their prey the same as most other insects. They don't make a web. They don't hang out. They pounce on their prey. And then eat them. And they generally will live in the underground. They burrow underneath the ground when they're not out mating or eating. But yeah, they get inside quite a bit. I've seen a lot of jumping spiders. I just leave them alone, let them do their thing. Eventually they'll find their way out. And then we have these big, huge huntsman spiders. And those things will freak you out when you see them. I'm not going to lie. Even though they are completely harmless, non-venomous, and will go out of their way to avoid you as a human that they see as a huge threat. And the only time it will attack or bite is when it is in fear and completely cornered with no other escape. But I had one in the shower with me once, and yeah, as I was turning around trying to see where this thing was skittering off to, it was just looking for a way out. It didn't want nothing to do with me. It didn't charge at me. It didn't try to. It wanted out as bad as I wanted it out of my shower, because you're most vulnerable when you're naked. So yeah, but they are big. They are really, really big. And at the end of this video, by the way, I'll show some pictures of some other insects I've taken pictures of in recent times. But yeah, again, if you don't know what kind it is and you're not sure about it, don't approach it too fast. Don't you know, run up on it and try to grab it in your hand. Because huntsman spiders will bite, but like I said, they're non-venomous. It'll just be an owie. And but you'll be all right. Unless you're another insect. In that case, yeah, you'll probably be dead. Of course, there are flies here. Got lots of flies. Hello. And again, flies are more of a nuisance than an actual threat to anything. You don't want them landing around on your food after they've already landed on a pile of dung and spreading that kind of bacteria to your food. But again, same with the ants and mosquitoes. They're just a part of living here, you know. Certainly not the biggest threat you have, but you know, they are annoying. They are annoying to humans. You know, yeah, they have cheap little bug zappers here you can get. You know, the kind you plug into your wall. A lot of people still use the old-fashioned sticky strands, you know, that hang down from the ceiling. They attract insects and they fly into them, and then they can't get away because they're stuck there, and then they die. So if you have a problem with flies, that'd be the best way to deal with that, I think. Of course, lots of beetles. I love beetles. Not the band, the bug. I love their physiology. I love that they're one of the most, they have the most species out of almost any insect in the entire world. And they are survivors. They can survive. They're very hard exoskeleton, and then the two sets of wings covering their body that helps protect them as well. Very fascinating creatures. Some crawl underground, some are above ground. But I've never been afraid of picking up a beetle, even if I didn't know what kind it was. I saw a big rhinoceros beetle once. This thing was huge. And it's not that they won't bite. Some of them will. A few species will. But like I said, it's enough. Just, you know, you feel a little prick and no venom. You're not going to kill over and die. But this was a nice big, biggest beetle I've ever seen. Almost as big as the palm of my hand. It was a great specimen. I couldn't help myself. I had to go pick it up. Didn't bite me. Stood there for a few minutes, kind of sniffed around, and then kind of plopped on the ground, back up, legs kicking. So I kicked it back over, let it go on its way. All right, that'll do it for this one. Hello. Hello. I just wanted to let you know about some of the more common bugs and what you might be able to do about them if you see them. But like I said, my best piece of advice, just don't go running up on it if you don't know what it is. But if you got pictures, send them to my Bug Life Facebook group. I'd love to see them. Be sure to check out all my links down below. If you want to help support the channel, I really appreciate it. I got links for PayPal, Ko-Fi.com, or you can join my Patreon. You'll get my weekly stuff, as well as copies of my books and other things, as a way of me saying thank you for being a supporter. Also down below are links to my social media, links to my books if you want to buy them individually, and other channels that are vlogging from this part of the world. They are all listed down there, and they are really good, and you should definitely subscribe to them as well. Alright, enjoy the bug pictures, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.